Hi guys, welcome back to Chess the Matthew. So on this video, we will tackle about the Magnus Gens scandal, in which Magnus Carlsen was actually been kicked out during the World Rapid Championship. I think it is from the round 8, and he was not been paired on round 9 because the arbiter ruled Magnus Carlsen from violating the dress code of the FIDE. So Magnus Carlsen here wears jeans, and the arbiter came up into the auction and called out for Magnus Carlsen to lower clothes, for example, because Magnus Carlsen is wearing a jeans. So Magnus Carlsen refused that rule, and he actually abandoned the current tournament and refused to defend his title, for example, and he actually again refused to change his clothes, for example, by wearing jeans. So here on the interview from the take that was actually interviewed by Levi Rusman on the Gotham Chess. So I just want to give a reaction, for example, about the thought of Hans Niemann, because I think his conspiracy gives something light for the dark side of the scandal, for example, the Magnus Jeans scandal. So here we go now. We go to the interview, and let's hear, for example, about the thought from Hans Niemann.
Obviously, there's a break day tomorrow. Then there's the Blitz, which I feel like we sort of talked a lot about.
Yeah.
I'd love to know your thoughts on, well, the elephant in the room. I saw.
Okay, so we are now the previous jeans scandal of Magnus Carlsen. So the elephant here is the Magnus Carlsen itself, because he's the big guy, the big star in the chess tournaments. For example, especially in this rapid chess tournament.
Some tweets you kind of said, if you think this is just about the genes, it's really not. So I want to know the Hans Niemann unfiltered
No, but
opinion.
this is just
Okay,
sort of
so
a
here you
power
go
play,
now.
right? Like this is it's a bit weird.
So for him, the scandal is very weird for him. But let's hear about his thoughts. He has an idea, for example, if this is a plan by Magnus Carlsen or just situational circumstances, for example, occurred during the rage of the tension from the battle of the World Rapid Championship.
People think that this is about genes. This is a, you know, how do I word this? Let's just say that I think that Magnus was very happy that he was kicked out of the tournament, because now he has
So
the
Magnus
perfect
Carlsen
excuse
is very happy for him.
to completely challenge FIDE in a way he's wanted to do for a very long time. And with his obviously financial, when it comes to the Freestyle Chess Tour, which I was invited to, I guess because they had to by rating, and honestly, Buettner, I've nothing negative to say about him. I even met him. Great things to say. I have nothing against the tour. I'm playing in a qualifier. But,
Okay.
the reason why he's doing this is just to discredit FIDE so that his tour can be labeled as the official World Championship.
So that was his thought. For example, about the Magnus Carlsen jeans scandal. So for him, Magnus Carlsen is definitely demanding, or a demanded player. He wants, for example, on Magnus Carlsen's side, maybe. This is just an opinion. So maybe for him, because he is the greatest or the best player, and from that fact, his voice shall always be heard. If there is dispute, then his opinion, or he would like to always maybe to disregard that dispute, and Magnus Carlsen himself shall always be heard, rather than the rules maybe.
And they just raised like $12 million, right? It's a big sort of investment, and how can you? I presume Magnus would be a shareholder in the company, just like he maybe is a shareholder in chess.com. Well, there was
So that another point, for example, for him, Magnus Carlsen, maybe a stakeholder, for example, from any uh, current chess tournaments, big chess tournaments, and maybe for Magnus Carlsen himself, according to Hans Niemann, without Magnus Carlsen, there will be no big chess tournaments at all. So let's hear, for
merger. So
example.
I would, I've gone on a bit, but this, in my opinion, was a coordinated and planned thing. It's not some random thing that happened. This is the perfect way for them to discredit FIDE, and once they discredit FIDE, then they can call whatever they want their world championship, right? Because there's this sort of battle, like in the entire world of shit.
So for Hans Niemann, it was actually a planned for Magnus Carlsen, for example, on a gene scandal. For example, the Magnus Carlsen is actually been kicked out from the Rapid World Chess Championship because of the fact of that thing. Maybe it's small thing made on the rules, for example, the dress code. But I think FIDE just ruled out for the success of the chess tournaments. For example, the World Rapid Chess Tournament. He ruled for the success. So with a dress code that actually form or uniform all the chess players, I think there's nothing bad about that fact, for example, of that rule. So for example, if I will be the player and I will go to the prestigious chess tournament and wearing sando, so okay, I am the big guy. For example, I'm the Magnus Carlsen wearing sando. So what? Huh? So as the side of Magnus Carlsen, I was actually the most influenced chess player. So maybe in the side, for example, of FIDE, this must not be done because chess is a sport. So it's here, for example.
So you have all these people who are vying for the stupid name, like the World Championship. Like you saw chess.com announce their global championship, which was first called World Championship, and then I guess that was a test to see how FIDE would react, and then they changed it to global, probably because of legal threats. But no, I feel like they've successfully sort of done they've won some. It's a PR battle, and now he has the complete, let's say, protection to secede from FIDE because there's a Genes headline, which is, I guess, confusing people about what's really happening.
That all makes sense. In your opinion, how do we crown a world champion? Is it something we need?
So that was the thought, for example, of Hans Niemann, and he actually not favors. I mean, he actually tried to tolerate Magnus Carlsen about the Genes scandal, in which why should Magnus Carlsen just obey the simple rules if he is the greatest chess of all time, for example? And with this influence, yes, I am Magnus Carlsen, so I have the voice, I have the money, I have the power, and what is your rules is that doesn't matter for me. So I think Hans Niemann maybe has a point. For example, by boldly say that Magnus planned the Jens scandal. But it was just an interview, so it was, I think it is just an opinion. So maybe Hans Niemann is wrong, and maybe I am also wrong. So that was my thought, for example, about Magnus carcinogen scandal, and I actually favor and support maybe that Hans Niemann thought from the previous gene scandal on the World Championship match 2024. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe.